My name is Tyler Constable with Epiphany, and today I want to share with you a little about Aegis, our offering for managed services for RISE with SAP, or also now known as Cloud ERP Private Cloud Edition. Now before we get into what Aegis actually is, let's take a look at what actually is happening in a RISE with SAP environment. What I've done over here is I've drawn out the technical stack of a typical SAP environment. Right? So we have our infrastructure layer, our operating system layer, the database, and then the SAP application layer itself. Now traditionally, when you were going to stand up and manage an SAP environment, your organization was responsible for the entire stack, everything from the infrastructure layer into the operating system, the database, and SAP itself. Right? So you could do that yourself internally, or you'd hire an organization like Epiphany to come in and manage that entire environment for you. Not too long ago, the hyperscalers came in, and again, this is the public cloud environments, and they said, we can handle all of this, and the customer then is just responsible for this section here. And again, you can do that internally, or perhaps you brought in a third-party support services like Epiphany. Now, not too long ago, SAP came in and said, we're going to offer something called RISE, which comes in just a little bit into this box here, and not on the bottom, still do some administrative level work there, and they'll take over all of this, and then the end customer is still responsible for this section here. Now don't be fooled by this little box. They may look pretty small, but there's actually quite a lot of things that need to be done in this environment. There are things like end user management, transports, moving the changes throughout the landscape, and so on and so forth. Just the list goes on and on and on. In fact, there's about 2,300 different items in our RACI file that SAP has identified where there are certain tasks that are taken on by SAP themselves and some taken on by you, the end customer. Right? And so in that document, a lot of these are going to be standard services that SAP is going to manage themselves. But there might be situations where we need to do something else above and beyond the standard contract. So SAP has come up with these things called CAS packages, and then there are tasks that they won't do at all also. So we'll put an X there for that. All right, so let's walk through an example of end user management. So for end user management, right, if you wanted someone to manage the users, manage the roles and profiles, you can buy an additional package from SAP, the CAS package here, and they can take that work on for you. Now, there might be things that SAP won't do that your organization is still going to be responsible for, right? So these are things like, let's say you want to connect to single sign-on, right, for your end user maintenance. SAP will not do that, and that'll be the responsibility of your organization to do that, right? Now, the technical stack has actually grown above and beyond this as well, right? So we also, besides these, have BTP, right? And you might be familiar with BDC as well. Different parts of the technical stack that are now part of the overall SAP environment now, really trying to keep this system, the core system now, nice and clean. So what do we do with Aegis? We come in and we take a look at everything that you're currently doing, and we say, all right, so what packages have you selected, and what packages have you not that are still important? What tasks do you still need to provide for yourself that SAP will not do, right? And what are you doing with BTP and BDC and so on and so forth? We take a look at that entire landscape and we find the gaps that there currently are, and we provide you with a custom Aegis offering specific to your organization to fill all the gaps across this entire stack. If you'd like to hear more about our Aegis offering, please email us at info@epiphany.io.